Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Plant, and I'm joined by Julie. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great, great, great. So, listen, guys. If today we're gonna do this show completely in English for obvious reasons because I think we were missing a little bit of English contents, and we have a lot of people that are, trying to want to contact us that want to migrate to the U.S. So I guess
hmm
it's a good thing that we do at least a show in English. And if you guys want to interact with us, feel free. Here we go. Feel free to participate to the conversation.
Great.
So yes, so today, of course, we're going to talk about the E2 visa. There's been a lot and a lot and a lot. I mean, most of
But
our
for,
clients.
first of
Yeah,
all, do you want to kind of like introduce? Because I mean, we've done that in French several times, but do you want to introduce who we are in English? That would be great.
that would make sense. So, Julie,
Oh, you want me to do it?
yeah, sure.
All right. So, well, my name is Julie Lesage. I'm a U.S. citizen, dual citizenship with Canada. I moved to the U.S. 20 years ago, and I've been helping a lot of Canadian actually coming to the U.S. And now, I'm helping kind of everybody moving to the U.S. On different visas. But we do a lot of E2s because they are the most um, not easy, but for a lot of people, that's the only option that they have. And that's pretty much what we do. So we help them like setting up a business in the US, trying to find what they could do, where they could do it, and really like the step by step. So we've been doing so many that now I'm pretty well uh, knowledgeable in any industries now. Yeah, like yeah. So, do you want to add something else?
So yeah, what she won't tell is that she wrote a book in French about the immigration
Oh,
process,
yeah,
and
that's
that
right.
was actually a key ingredient of you being like I would say, an authority in Canada for immigration. You also mostly in French, of course, but we see you quite often on TV on both the CBC and the French speaking TVA and
Mhm.
uh, and the news channels. And you did some in English, of course, but
Yeah, but
mostly in
Android
French.
is just like it's mostly French, but yeah, I do both.
Yeah. So yeah, and you also, of course, have a business.
hmm
I say have a business, but you you have multiple businesses.
Yes, yeah, businesses uh, that I try to be absentee owner so I can actually teach how to do it, to my clients. Yes, I'm not an attorney, so I I
Yeah,
want to
it's
say
important
that.
to.
So I'm not
Yeah.
an attorney. I work with attorneys. I work with several of them. We really do different things. The attorney is doing the legal stuff, and I'm just supporting the business side. So they can tell you, well, I can tell you, like if you want to have like an E2, this is what you have to do. And then so they're going to do the legal stuff, but I'm helping mostly on the business side. And I help on other visa as well. Canadian, they are eligible for the TN. And so because of my network, sometimes it's easier to find opportunities or just to help finding like the job that would be eligible for this type of visa. So yeah, that's pretty
So
much what
that's
I do.
pretty much it. And
hmm
what she won't tell is that, okay, you're not an attorney, but the good thing is that you're not charging the price of an attorney. So if you need somebody, like like you do the work of a paralegal, but
Yeah.
without charging the price of an attorney. Because if you go to an attorney to get to do your immigration papers, that's fine. They'll do a fine job, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
But even
And
the legal stuff, I don't like to do the paralegal, what they do, like the forms, and I don't like this part.
yeah,
So
but the good thing is that we work with attorneys, but
Mhm.
for what is essential to your file. So
Yes.
because of course there's stuff that they can do, and then and it all depends, because we know some attorney that we work really really good. So if you need to have an attorney who have a good price, we have this kind of attorney that has good result.
Mhm.
If you want to be like 100% bulletproof, we have this attorney that we work with and we have a really high success rate with. And it all depends when we talk to you, and what kind of business you're in and stuff like that, where you want to go. If you want to go like to Florida, if you want to go like to, I say Florida because a lot of Canadian like me
When you go to Florida,
like to
well,
went to Florida.
a lot,
Like,
not just Canadian. I
yeah,
think it's a lot of people want to go there. I'm actually based in Texas. You're in Florida.
yeah,
I'm in Texas, and that's another popular state. Yeah.
yeah. And if I can take a minute to introduce myself, so it's quite easy. So my name is Jeff Plant, and I'm actually in Florida right now, but I'm in the process of moving to Florida, actually. So I still have my house in near Montreal in Quebec, but we're doing it now. And yeah, I was for many years I was a politician. I was in municipal politics in Montreal. So I was city councillor for two mandates, but I was also involved in provincial politics and in federal politics. So you can Google my name. And also been working a little bit on the medias, also just like Julie. I had my radio show in Montreal, and I had also a show on the XM satellite radio.
Hmm.
So I've been doing mostly radio in Montreal, a little bit in Quebec City, and sometimes in Calgary. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. And of course, I own, like Julie, I own multiple businesses. My main business, I would say, is I have a chair company. So I have, it's like Stacking Chairs Canada and Stacking Chairs USA. So I have like two companies where I do sell chairs to churches and event centers and hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. So it's a good business. It takes some most of my time, but I also like to do what we're doing now and bring some people, some business, but mostly, not all the time, but mostly because we like to work with the E2 visa. So mostly
Wow.
business person.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we screen the people because we only want E2 visas, but you know what? Let's be honest, we're really good with that. And
No.
because we
Yes,
know the
and that's
mentality
yeah.
that you guys have, if you're into business, like we know what you've been through, and you're gonna be through, you know.
Yeah, and then sometimes, people, I've been told before, and I really try now to not do it. I've been told that I was pushing to the E2 visa, but what I'm trying to do is to find the one that would suitable. And sometimes, when you have like a family with like one person could be eligible for the TN, but the
Go for the
spouse won't
TN.
be able.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, yes, but the spouse won't be able to work, and then sometimes it can create some,
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
one person cannot really work, and then it's not easy. So then, if that will be a problem, then the E2 will be the best
So
because the other
in
person
a
will
few
be able
words,
to work.
Julie,
Yeah.
TN visa is mainly a visa for Canadian citizens.
Yes. Yeah.
And it has to do with the free trade we have between the US and Canada.
Hmm.
For
Oh, we
some,
say that, and it's also including Mexico. I'm just saying,
including
but yeah.
Mexico, of course, but including some professions that are really in need in the US, and you have a
That used to
profession
be in
list.
need in 1994,
Yeah,
because
and
they
they
didn't
kept
change
it.
the list.
Yeah, and they kept it this that way for whatever reason.
Hmm.
But if you are like you guys, you came to the U.S. 20 years ago on a TN visa with your husband,
Yes.
who was a nurse. So
Yes.
and you weren't able to work, and then you changed the visa,
Yeah,
and
it was. I
you've
was
been
not.
able to
Yeah, so
immigrate.
I was not able to work when we first came here. But for us, it was a different situation. When we asked for the green card, we had the sponsor, and it took only 3 months because it was like high on the priority list at that time. I don't think that
Yeah.
will be the case right now. So yeah, in 3 months we got our green card, and then I was able to work. For some people, it could take like up to 2 years. So it's not everybody that could live on one salary for 2 years, and just
Right.
like sitting home is not. Some people don't want to do that. So
And, and, and
I,
And for those, Julie, who may ask, what's a TN visa? Let's say, generally, is when you have a bachelor degree in certain fields.
Mhm.
If you have like minimum of a bachelor degree,
It
there's a
depends.
way.
Yeah, but it depends because, like, even like as a physician, if you do research, yes, you will be eligible for the TN. But if you're just like you just want to treat patients, it's you're not even eligible for the TN.
Mm.
So there's like a list, and there's so many I cannot list them all.
Yeah, yeah,
But
Google it. It's really easy to find.
yes, exactly. But you don't always have to have a bachelor degree. Sometimes you can have just experience,
Work
3 years
experience.
experience, or just like a diploma. Like, um, yeah, I'm trying to think of the scientific world. They have like the technical scientific jobs. Like if you engineering, like but technical, and then that will be like eligible, even though you don't have a bachelor degree.
If you're a lab
Um,
worker, stuff
and
like that.
also, what we've been able to do with some of the clients is to, some people they don't have a bachelor degree, but they have like, like I don't know, 15 years of experience in that field, and that will give them a bachelor degree, so they can get the bachelor
The
degree
equivalency,
from.
yeah.
Yes, exactly, and that would work for the TN as well.
But now let's focus on the E2 visa that
Mhm.
we find. Listen, there's no one size fits all solution,
No.
but if you have, listen, we
Yes.
have a lot, and let's speak in the bold words. We have a lot of Indian Canadians that
Hmm.
are reaching to us,
Hmm.
and Indian Canadians are really proficient in business. Like,
Yeah.
you're really into that, and we see it, and we see it often, like more than the French Canadians, and you know what I mean. So a lot of them want to buy a convenience store, garage, repair computers, stuff like that. I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but a good percentage want to have such businesses. So, or they want to create it, or they want to buy one, and they always ask us the question: Should I buy? Should I create it? Maybe okay, we're going to see that later, but we see a lot of this,
Hmm.
and that's why we said okay, let's do this show in English for our Canadian friends that speak English, and let's address this. By the way, if you have any question, feel free to ask on your Facebook or on YouTube. Feel free. But yeah, so how can we start with this? Because as I said first, we find the E2 visa is quite an interesting way if you're business savvy to get
Yes.
into the US without any you know problems.
It's an okay. So first of all, the E2 visa is a you was created to bring money from outside of the United States and create jobs. That was the main goal of the E2 visa. And so you have to prove that your business is, substantial and will eventually create at least 3 to 5 jobs. Um, and will also be enough for you um, to live, and your family to live on that business as well. So the good thing about the E2 visa is the fact that the spouse, so if you're married, you have to be married, your spouse will be able to work. And so sometimes the scenario that we see a lot will be the spouse got a job offer in the US, and but can't have a visa for this type of job. This happened a lot because it's not on the TN visa list, and then it's just too complicated to get.
And it's
So
the kind of job that where you make enough to make you think of moving to the US, but you don't
yeah,
have the
or
way
it's
or
like,
the visa.
yes, but sometimes it's like a great opportunity. We
Yeah,
always think of people, they want this route to move to the US and become citizen eventually. That's not always the case. We have some
no,
people that they just want to go there for 8 years just to like experience something else, and then they can bring it back at home, and and so it's not always like I want to move, and I suggest to actually my clients not to tell their family like I'm moving, I'm not coming back, because you never know what can happen. So
yeah.
they want to have this job that looks
You'll
like
always be Canadian
wonderful,
anyway.
or sometimes it's for the kids. A lot of
Yeah.
people, they want to move for the kids until they have more opportunities, and then eventually they're going to come back when their parents will age, so they'll come back for them. But yeah, so many reasons to move, but that's one of the reason that people will actually look toward the E2 visa, is because of the fact that the spouse can work anywhere. So there's yeah, they can work for any
And,
employer in the
and the
US.
other reason, Julie, is that if you've been in business, and we're going to talk about the investment,
Hmm.
but let's say like the urban legend says you have to invest a
Um,
minimum of like maybe 100K,
mhm,
for business. That's what's
mhm,
considered by the immigration. That's not
mhm.
exactly the case, but let's say we start from there.
Yeah.
But when you buy or when you create a business at 100K, uh, don't consider, unless you're really really lucky or you're really good at what you're doing, to don't expect to make a salary or of 200K. It's literally
Well, I
impossible.
mean, so if you buy a business, an existing business, and the sell price is 100K, it's because you can make like the owner's benefit, which is not
Yeah,
even your profit. It will be about like 30,
yeah.
35K. That's
So
not a
that's enough,
lot.
maybe for one person, but for family, it's maybe far fetched.
Yeah, that yes. So you kind of have, and so sometimes people like they ask me, okay, I want to have like I want to buy a business. I have 100 thousand. But I want to be able to live on it, and I'm like, okay, well, it's just not gonna work. You can start a business though, and if you when you start a business, it's just a little different. We can try to make it to the point where you're going to be able to live on it, and then eventually you will have to hire people. Like you
You're
have
gonna
like
have
your
to,
five
because
years.
that's one of the
Yeah,
conditions.
but you have their 5 years, and so
Yeah.
when I write my business plan, that's exactly what I do. So I'm planning on projecting 3 to 5 employees within like the 5 years, and like to show that in the numbers, but you're still gonna have like a good income, and then we can And yeah, this can happen, but like buying a business at this price, most people don't have, like most of them, like 90% of people don't have more than $100,000 to invest when they come to us. So like 125 will be pushing, but even at this price, you can't really think of like living on that, like the investment right now. So
Yeah.
that will be along the way within your 5 years, if you make it grow. So it's really what people need. So some people, they come to us and they're like, I don't really mind the business. We don't really care about what kind of business. We just need the visa because my husband got a job, and yeah, eventually you'll have to
So
do something with the
so
business if you want
sometime
to stay there. But yeah,
and sometime you would see on some websites like BuyBizSell or places like that where they would say this business is good for an E2 visa or
yeah,
pre-qualified. They sometimes they
May
use this kind of
1
term, but I don't really like that because there's no pre-qualified business unless like the previous owner got an E2 on that exact business. So then okay, maybe, but then
But
again, it doesn't
maybe
mean that you're
maybe that way,
pre-qualified.
yes. Even it
Yeah,
doesn't even mean anything because if sometimes they get the E2 visa and they have to, for example, they may have to convert their 1099 into W2. So like employees that are contractors, they have to be really employees because that's a requirement
of
for
course.
the E2. At least you have to have some W2s. You can have both, but
W2 meaning an employee, like
employee, yes, exactly.
not a how do you say
Contractor, the
not a
contractor,
contractor. Yeah.
yeah. So if they don't, so if they and some people get their the change of status, so they get 2 years instead of 5. So 2 years, like you have to move quick. Like when you think about it, 2 years is may seems far away, but it's gonna come. So if you have 5 years, I feel like you can turn this thing around and yes, convert to W2s. And if you don't, and if there's like issues and you're coming at the end of your visa, and then you have to sell it, well, it doesn't this won't be legible for the next person
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
they change
Unless
that
you have a
before.
plan
Yes.
to create.
So
I have I have an interesting question, Julie. If
oh,
you
yes.
and we see that often. So I'm looking for business with 60 to 70% passive income, like laundry with 5 or 6 unit to rent. I know that passive income is not does not qualify for E2. That yes, but
So
no.
yeah, well, so you kind of have to prove in the business plan that because everybody wants to be absentee owners, okay? It's just that you have to direct the business. So you have to be in charge of the business. And so we have to make a role of
Managing.
the owner. Yeah. So somewhere needs to do something. But you don't have to do a lot. But we have to create like a list of things that the owner will have to do to um, you have to be on site. So sometimes the people ask me, yeah, but I would like a business that I can do remotely. Yeah, well, if you can do remotely from another state, why don't you do it from another country? So why don't do you need the E2 to come and work in the US? Because you
Because
can
they're
be
going to
in
ask you that.
Canada.
Yeah.
Well, because in Canada, you can be in Canada and you can open a business in Texas with a Texas address with employees in Texas.
You
We
can do it
actually
tomorrow
have
if you want. Yeah.
we have clients that they do that. They start the business from Canada. They set up the business. They have a bank account. They have employees. They pay their employees. They do all of this. They answer the phone. They work for the business in the US, and they they are allowed to do that because they're not in the US, but they need the visa to be able to do the same thing here. But you have to prove, why do you need to go? Why are you needed on site? And so that's what we need to show in the business plan.
Actually, Julie, you have one kind of business that you can do both remotely and on site. We have clients of ours that have a company like yours, like you have a cleaning business.
Mhm.
So of course you're on site and you manage it. You're hands on, and I know you're really hands on. Your
Yeah, well,
business,
actually, I don't really I it's on I'm on site, yes, but
yeah.
I don't really,
You don't do the cleaning, yeah,
well, I don't do the cleaning, but I'm not answering the phone. I don't really do
yeah,
anything. I think right now the only thing I do is mostly marketing.
yeah.
That's
But
pretty much what
what
I
I was
do.
about to say is that we have client of ours that open a business in the US, cleaning
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
but they're still in Canada,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
they want to build the business,
Hmm.
and while it's not making profits, but it's still making money and it's still operating, and
Yeah.
they can build a business, they can build a value to the business, they can build a how do you say chiffre d'affaires? Chiffre
You're
d'affaires.
like, I can't, like,
You know what I
it's
mean, eh?
blank. It's blank in my mind as
but,
well.
but,
Yes.
but yeah, to build revenue
Yeah.
for your
Yeah.
business, so you can build a revenue of 100,000 to 200,000, but then you can start to make a little profit from it. But maybe it's going to take you six
Yes, but
months, a year,
okay. So
maybe more.
the main issue that sometimes I have is making them spending money. I don't like to spend money myself, but I have to make them spend money because that's what's gonna show the immigration that they're putting their money at risk,
Risk.
and
And that's
that's what they
important to
want.
put money at risk. And that's
Mhm.
what they consider. It has to be at risk. If you
Yes,
buy a vehicle for your business, it's not
vehicle, yeah.
considered at risk.
No, because you can resell it tomorrow, so you're not like losing a lot of money. But if you sign a lease, that's putting your business at risk, your money at risk. If you, spend money in many things, it's just not one, like buying inventory,
A
that won't
lease,
work.
yeah,
But if
insurance.
you can do like insurance, you can do, marketing, so if you equipment, so if you invest, like you're starting a business, that's why you do when you start a business, and then you can show it to the immigration, then you're good. So what I actually do is I look into that, like, okay, can I buy, so if your ratio of inventory is too high, that's not gonna work. And then and actually the attorneys I work with, I don't even know one that would accept a case without that. I'm not saying you won't find one, but so if you, a
We
lot
have
of
to be logical.
attorneys,
Yeah.
yeah, but a lot of them, they won't take your case if they know you're gonna fail, just because it's not gonna make them look very good. And actually, for myself, I only had one failure. It was not even about the business; it was about the person himself, with the background. But like business wise, they all got their visa.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's the same person who's asking us. Can you provide some indication of minimum of funds needed to buy a business like a convenience store in U.S. East Coast? Could be anywhere in the U.S. actually, to apply for E2 visa.
Okay,
So
so
it is said that it has to be substantial, and by saying substantial, it's 100K is considered substantial, but it doesn't have to be absolutely 100K. But
no. It's like the whole package
in
deal,
the
though.
realms of
You
100K.
have to look into the package deal of what it is. Okay, so we like to say 100,000, but that include attorney fees, all of that. That just included in that 100K. But let's say you find a place that we would like to buy, a small store, and it's 50K. It won't work for the E2, but you can actually make a business plan showing what else you're gonna do to make an investment that will be more like 100K. So let's say you're planning on buying more equipment or
Advertisement.
yes, and then you have to show it to the immigration, and then that will be fine. But very important, the money that you will invest eventually, even if it's like in like 3 years, it has to be in a US bank account. You have to show that it exists.
And
So
you
you
have to
don't
show that
have to
it's
spend
not
it
money
now.
loaned, not loaned.
it,
You have
it
it in hand.
Yeah, so it cannot be a loan unless it's a loan that is secured by something else. Like if you have a house and so you have some equity on your house, then that could be used, for part of your investment.
Because
Yes.
there's always, Julie, this notion of risk, that it's risk money.
Mhm.
Because while doing that, they know if you risk your own money, chances are you have more chances like to be successful in your business. And that's what, because the idea behind that is that they just don't want you to be on welfare.
No, and they want to bring, so they just know it's like data. I'm not making the rules. They do. They know that if you invest 25,000, you're not really serious about your investment. But if you do invest 100,000, yeah, you may make some kind of effort
Yeah, for sure.
to to have your business succeed. So it's just like, again, I always say the same thing. I'm not making the rules. Like people like, I don't want to spend the money. That's the
It
way
is what
it
it is.
is. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're just seeing as an investment. So if you take care of your investment, then you're gonna see it back. Owning a business is not easy, but it will bring you to the US and will give you
But their
experience
friend
and
here
everything.
was talking. I'm going to bring back the question. He was talking specifically about something like a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven.
Mhm.
I guess it's okay. Thing is, 5 employees.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a convenience store, I guess we could do like a three employees, and that will still work. But that will have to be, something special. And if you want to invest less than 100,000, that means that you're not going to make a lot of money. So, it just have to make sense. Convenience store, if you have a gas station, then forget about it. You won't have that for this money. But so that, like, at 50,000 will be like almost impossible. That would be something that's going under, or it will be just inventory, which won't work. So, I mean, that will be hard. But you can start one though. That will
Hmm.
work.
But on the other hand, one business model that we've really been successful with in the past 2 years are the cleaning businesses.
Well, the cleaning
Because it's
business.
easy, I'm not saying it's easy to operate, nothing's easy, but you don't need any like big pre-qualification if you're business savvy.
Yeah.
Plus, it's easy to create jobs, because if you, let's say, you don't do the cleaning yourself, you need to hire, cleaning technicians, maids.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to hire people in
Hmm.
order to be successful. And
Hmm.
it's not going to take long that you're gonna have 3 to 5 employees and more.
Yeah, so the reason why it's a good idea, it's because first it's a service business, which means usually your overhead are low. Yeah, usually low, because you don't have to have like a, like restaurant, they have like a
The
12K.
food cost and everything, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lease, like crazy lease, and then you have the food cost, the waste, and all of the, it's your operating hours are crazy, and it's a lot to deal with. Okay, the service industry is a little, it's easier, so you don't have to have like a big like a big building that you lease. You can have like a very small office. Actually, it was like 300 a month for like a
Just a
small
small office.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need. But
Need
you
an
need
address.
one. You need one because of the E2 visa. They like to see at least. I have some, they purchase a storage unit for a whole year, and that's part of the investment, because they couldn't find an office cheap enough. So it's possible, but that wouldn't be possible with any other kind of business. And you cannot have a business that you do from home. So you kind of need to have an address just for the business. So, and the the cleaning business is also good, but the service. So we're talking about cleaning technician. They go to people's homes, so they they're not really coming to the office. They just come and get their stuff, but that's it. And they only, when they work, um, they bring you money every time they work. They bring you money, but
And it's a
if
recurring business. That's what's
yeah.
good about it.
But if I give the example of the restaurant, so when you have your people in your restaurant, like you have your servers, you have your cook, but nobody's showing up, you're still gonna have to pay them, right? The service industry is just a little bit different. So when people work, you make money, but when they don't work, you're not losing money. So that's the difference. So it's a little less risky, if I can say, than any other kind of business.
Yeah. So, and the good thing so far, we've had a lot of success. Like, is it like 100% success rate to the one who came to us for an E2 visa
Hmm.
for
Yeah,
cleaning business? So far, we're
they
really
did not
100%.
have. Yeah, they did not have any denial. I have one that will. They told me today they have their appointment on February 15th. They actually, it's really quick right now. So they made their appointment. I think that was yesterday, and the first appointment available was February 15th. So I was like,
Wow.
wow, yes, it was in Toronto, Canada. But yeah, so and then once they get there, then they're going to be able to come in and work in the US. And they started the business back in September. So just to get it going, and so to show a proof to the immigration that the business is operating, and they already have clients, recurring clients. They already have employees.
And
So
all they're the one who've been running the business from Canada.
yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
it. They're
Okay. So
answering the
Manoli is,
phone.
yes.
She is, yeah, answering the phone. Setting up everything. Of course, I'm helping a little bit, but yeah, they're doing amazing, and I'm so sometimes I'm really proud of, all of the effort that they're, you know, making, because they really want to move to the US. That's their dream, and they really, like, they just focus on that, and then they'll get it. And we had others, everybody has their own reason to move to the US. In all of my clients, it's all different, but everybody is like coming here and then just like going after their dream, because once you get here, it's not going to stop. You want to buy a house, and then you want to grow
Of
your
course.
business, or you want to sell your business and do something else. Some people, they get to the point where if they have like 10, 12 employees, and then they would be able to apply for like the B5 EB5, sorry, visa, and that it's goes straight to the green card. So there are so many ways to achieve that, but I think the E2 is a good a good option.
So we have I don't know if it's the same user. So how much funds needed for the cleaning business for the E2 visa? How long does the visa processing take?
So so
Um,
the visa processing. So there's two ways. Okay, there's two ways to get the visa. So if you are in the US right now and you don't want to go and you don't want to leave, then you can do the E2 visa, the change of status inside the US, and then you will get your visa for 2 years. And that, if you pay the fee for expedition, so will take two
the
weeks
speedy
to get
processing.
your, yeah, then you'll have your answer in 2 weeks. But again, it depends of the country where you are. But so the attorney send the file, and then the consulate has to accept the file. It usually takes about 7 days, I would say. And then after they accept the file, you can make an appointment. And then so it was yesterday that they got the approval for the appointment, and the appointment is February 15th. So
But
that's the time.
the interesting question is, I'm going to bring it back. How much funds needed for the cleaning business? So how much money would you need? Do you need 100,000? I know the answer, but I'm asking you. Do you need 100,000 upfront?
You need to show at least, okay, so we've done one, I think it was like 89 something. I was really pushing for the 90. But it included, the money already spent. So it was including my fees, it was including the attorney's fees. It was some
So
travel
your
to.
fees, so just the people can understand, because they're going to ask the question, what do you do? Like Julie, you did the business plan,
No,
you did all the
so but when
preparation.
I was talking about the fees, I was talking about, so when people join, so like, let's say they don't want a cleaning business, so I'm not really involved, but I can still help. So I can set up any kind of business. The and I just want to, like, I'm gonna talk about the cleaning business right after, but the fees I was talking about is our fees. Like, so when you come to us and you just want to work with us, and so we can help you like step by step, so that will count in the E2 investment, like the initial investment. How much do you need to start the business? You still have to show the 90-ish, okay,
US dollars. US.
US dollar, that is the money you invested, that was related to that. And also you have to show the rest of the money in a business US business account. Okay, so that won't change. Can you get your visa for less than that? Yes, but I'm always trying, because you're gonna lose so much money if you don't follow the
The guideline.
protocol, or
Yeah.
so like, if you say, okay, I'm gonna try with 50,000, and then you have your attorney fees, and you have and all of this, you're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose this money. So I would rather you finding money to kind of be able to get to the 90,000, and then you have a much higher success rate.
And the thing is why why would they employ us? The main
Because
reason I think is because we know the wording and we know what the immigration wants to hear. It doesn't mean that we trick them. It
well,
means that
so
we try to orient you and to tell you at first, okay, you need to do this, and that. Are you
I've
ready?
been used so many times. You just don't know, like it. We do much more than that. When people come to me and they have all kind of problems, and then like I don't know if one I don't even think about someone who got like everything smooth with no issue
Not
whatsoever.
in business.
So
It
yeah,
won't
they
happen.
all have something going on. Sometimes it's just they can't open the bank account. Sometimes it just they can't transfer the vehicle to the US for some reason because it's a
Cannot get
weird
an
car.
EIN.
They cannot get the EIN, and so and sometimes it's like at the end, like for the EIN, you're telling me this the example. What happened is we needed the EIN that day, so they would not, so we would be able to file, and so they wouldn't have to go back to Canada that day, and I was able to do
Pull it off.
myself,
Yeah.
yeah. So we did some paperwork, and I was able to ask the EIN for, so I've been used, and actually for opening business accounts, and so I've been used for so many things. I'm talking to people at the bank. I actually spoke to the people at the border, and so I do much like, so when there's a problem, I have a solution because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But it can be like school related, it's because there's so many things.
Insurance.
Insurance, yes.
Like,
Yeah.
listen, health insurance. It's a big topic.
Yes. Yeah. I can
And
help with
especially like
health
if you're
insurance.
creating a business, it's not the same thing as working for a big company.
Nope.
For a big company, most chances are you're going to be covered. You're going to have to
Mhm.
pay, but then you already have a plan in the company. When you open a business, you start with nothing.
Mhm. If you want to buy a house, and yeah, there's so many things that
Yeah.
sometimes you'll need someone in the US that can help you, and or what to ask or where to go, or sometimes that's just what they said. So sometimes they'll go to the bank and they're just going to say something, then the banker will say, oh no, and then they're going to shut the door. But if they say the right thing, then they'll, because it's funny, I always tell my clients, for some people it's easy, they go to the bank, they open the bank account at Chase, and then for others they can't, like they go everywhere, and then
And
they
it just won't
can't
work.
open, it won't work, and they do the same thing. And so but that's where I can help, making sure they have, because you do have to have a business account, so you have to open a business account in the US. So
And sometimes it's just a matter of using the proper words, the proper
mhm.
wording, and
Yep.
you're good. You're good.
Yes.
And that's it. So, can one of the question that comes often, can you get a green card with the E2 visa?
I mean, you can always get a green card, but not from the E2 visa. So the E2 visa is not, you cannot
Immigrant.
have, yeah, so you can't immigrate on that. They want you, actually, you have to sign paperwork saying that you're going to go back. You're not going to stay here forever. You're planning on going back. The way most people do it, and I was explaining. So if the business growing up, then you can ask for an EB-5. But usually, and I have there's so many options, but usually the spouse will be the one getting a sponsorship from the employer, and then they'll be able to get the green card from there. Um,
Or you can
or
put your spouse, maybe, because it's something we found out as an essential employee.
Well, it's not. Yeah, we can't. I know you call it the essential employee, but in this case, you just have to prove that your spouse is the best person to help you in the business. And then eventually when the business is, doing well, then the business itself can sponsor the spouse for the green card. Yes,
Yeah.
that's another option. So the spouse is very important. As a single person, though, it's more complex. But I've seen most single people end up marrying someone in the US, or eventually they'll find, so they'll get more experience, and then they'll be able to get another visa with their experience in the US, because sometimes they would do qualify for another visa, but they will need a sponsor. They need someone to hire them, and it's depending on the industry. It's not always easy when you're outside of the US, but once you're in here, like talking to people and networking, then you'll have a better chance to find employment.
What would you recommend? Start a business from scratch or buying one?
It depends of what you want. It's so different. So when you buy a business, you buy a business with
With numbers,
employees.
proven numbers.
Yes, exactly. So you're buying a business that's already existing, and like, so already have like a structure, and so that usually the owner will give you some sort of training, and yeah, so you're coming with something right away, but you have to make a big investment, um, and it's not really truly your business. You did not find a name, you know what I mean? So some people like to start from scratch with their idea, with their like thinking of a name and doing everything from scratch, to they want to be proud of being the one creating the business. The When you create the business, so when we do, like, let's say the cleaning business, you pick your name, you choose logo, the colors of your website or the brand, and you don't have to invest the full amount. So we have to show it in the business plan that you will eventually spend the amount that you need, but in the beginning we need to show about like 35,000, and then the rest you have the rest of the visa to invest. And usually most people,
And
they
that's
start.
important, Julie, because if you create the business and let's say you only have access to 40 grand, but you can generate a decent cash flow and you don't need the money to pay yourself now because maybe you have other businesses,
Mhm.
then it may be a decent solution because it's going to create money, and then it's going to go through your, not your debt, but your what you told the immigration, that you're going to invest in the business.
Yes, and I have clients that they have a job in Canada that they're still doing remotely, but to be able to stay in the US, and not having to go back after 6 months,
Yeah.
you need to have like a visa. So that's the way. Yeah, of course they want the business to
But it gives you
survive,
time. That's the thing. It
but you
gives you
have the
time.
time.
So it
Yes.
takes 2 years to generate enough for you to make a living. That's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
okay.
then so
That's
you
good.
still have your business, your job in Canada that you can do remotely. So
And you
that's
still have your spouse that is able to work
in the
and to bring
US.
some,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
money to the table. So that's
yeah. There's so many options, so that's why it's like case by case. Some people, they really need to make the investment count because they need the money. So they are coming to the US with nothing, no job, no other income, and they don't have a lot of money in their bank account, apart from the investment. And so we need to find a way for them to have an income. And yeah, So for the service business is usually easier because your
You generate the cash
investment.
flow.
Yeah, but you can have like even with like 30, like investing 30K, you can start like with like two employees already. So when you file for the E2, you already have your employees, almost like so, like very, very high success rates.
And the employees are paying themselves.
They're supposed to.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and that's what like we have to do when you start a business, even though, and you can try to do it a different way, but so I always give them option. You can pay your employees guaranteed hours for a little while until you get enough clients, and then they have like a full-time job. But this amount of money is not, it's really part of your investment. So you invest money in retaining your employees until you
And
get
Julie,
enough
that's
job.
important because you've always told me, like in your field, and I would say in any field, it's easy to find business, but it's
Mhm.
not easy to find employees, like good employees. It's
It's
really hard.
changing. Right now, it's changing. We see it a lot with people don't say we're in a recession, but we are. I'm sorry. We see that I have I'm I didn't think I would have that, but now I have a waiting list of people that want to work for us, like that I can call, and I have
That's a
a
good
big
problem.
list. It's
Yeah.
a good problem, and so right now my focus is on finding customer, which last last year was the opposite. I had so many clients, but I did not have enough people to cover all of them. So like it's switching back and forth, but we see it's changing. It was the case a year ago, but it's not anymore. People are really looking for work. Yeah, a lot of businesses are not doing well. Um, but a lot of businesses are created with absolutely no cash flow, no investment, no because let's be honest, starting a cleaning business doesn't cost you 100,000, but if you do invest $100,000, it's because you have a better success rate than the one starting with nothing.
And mind you, like you all know cleaning businesses
Hmm.
in your neighborhood, so
Hmm.
you have to, you're not going to be the only one on the block. So you have to do something. So you have to advertise. You have to invest in the business to create, to create business.
Yeah, and so that's so I always show in the business plan that it's always good to be on site when you have a business, and then so even if they are starting the business in out of the country, and then they come here to really improve the business, and because that's what it does. So by just networking, because that's very important, and you want to do that anyway when you're coming to a
Of course.
new your new town, new people. You just want to network. You're setting up a new life. So you want to have like friends, and so that's what you need to do. And just by doing it, people are gonna come to you. They know you. They trust you. So they'll trust that you're gonna be a good option for them. And also, if you go to like a big city, I live close to Houston. Um, we have a lot of uh, like people from India will come here, and then they're gonna start a cleaning business for all of the Indian people around here. And I'm telling you, like they can have a really big business, and they they have a lot of Indian people here, and it can be the same thing for other culture. That's how people do business when they come from another country. They kind of target their people
Their own
first.
community. That's obvious. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's their home community. And that's where like people go to church or the temple or whatever. And that's where they find uh their customers. We see that a lot.
You see that a lot. Think of it. Uh, on the real estate business, Italian would buy from an Italian,
Yes,
Jewish would
exactly.
buy
We
from a
do. Yeah,
Jewish, Greek would buy
exactly.
from a Greek, Chinese would buy from Chinese, French Canadian would buy from a French Canadian.
Yeah, I
So
know.
yeah, so the same thing if you have a cleaning business,
So
same
you kind
thing.
of try to set
You're
up
confident in
where,
your own people, like in a way.
yeah, no, exactly. I,
Yeah.
I I don't know. It's the way it is. Oh, people speaking the same language. It's always like much better. And that's usually, yeah, that's usually what people do, because you don't need that many customers. And if you think about it, if you have $200, 200
Customers.
customers that who pay $100 a week, like a cleaning, or like a cleaning, not like a house, but just like a business, in my
It's
business,
it's
we
20 grand a week guaranteed because they're recurring customers.
yeah, so it's, you have your million in a year. So
Easy.
200, if you want to target houses, yeah, we have a lot of houses, but then a lot of people are interested in weekly. But if you target, like, so we have a church that my company cleans, and they're twice a week, so they count as two, in
Yeah.
1 week. So how many
Airbnbs,
yeah, so we don't do
short-term rentals.
Airbnbs. We don't
Yeah.
person now, because it's
No, you
just
don't do it, but a lot of our
a
clients do
lot of client. Yes, exactly, because it's a lot of money. It's just a little too much trouble for me.
because they're
But
the
yeah,
grab. Yeah.
if you want, yes, exactly. If you want to make money, that's the way to go, because you get a lot of money out of it. But so if you have 200 Airbnbs, yeah, you'll get your million
You will
pretty
thrive.
quickly. So when I'm looking, so sometimes I'm driving, and and I'm looking at all of the new constructions and new building, and then in houses, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I would not even be myself, like my business, be able to serve everybody. So you have a lot of room for other competitors, and people would just go, like, we do eco-friendly, we
Yeah,
use
that's your
eco-friendly
niche.
products. Yes, my niche. So the people that looking for that type of cleaning, they come to us because we're the only one in the area. So that's why we have a lot of clients. But you can target, I've seen one that did target veterans, and so you just make your niche, and then just target your people, and then you're in business. You only need 200.
That's it. So
Yeah,
it's not saying it's easy, but
yeah.
it's
I mean,
attainable.
yeah. You just keep going, and then once you have them, and then you please them, they're gonna stay. I have the same customers. Some of them, they've been with me for 5 years. 5 years, every like 2 weeks. Crazy.
Yeah.
So do you?
So
I thought you had a
I had
question.
somebody who asked. Yeah, I had somebody who asked me on the other chat. Just give me a second. So yeah, so we started to talk about buying a business versus creating one.
Mhm.
Uh, will it make a big difference to the immigration?
It depends of the business plan. The business plan is a big deal, because you have to show so many things, like how you're gonna do your marketing, who you're gonna target, um, everything, what you're gonna buy, how many employees, what are they gonna do, when are you gonna hire them, how much they're gonna get paid. So you have a lot to show, and if it's a strong business plan, then it won't really matter. But they will look at the numbers of the existing business. And I see a lot of businesses. So people, like, they send me numbers, and then they ask me, would this be suitable? And the first sheet that they'll present is like, yeah, that would work. But then when you go deeper and deeper, and then you're like, okay, that's not really the real story, um, people just arrange their numbers so they look good. Um, but if they are really good for real, then yeah, the immigration would like it. If you already have employees and then you invest like the amount you're supposed to invest, buying a business would work. So buying the business would work better, and then a business that's already existing with employees already in operation is like coming after. And then you have like the business that only have a business plan. um, you have to have at least some investment, but so that will come after, for the
Significant.
immigration. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really important, and you really have to take time on it, and to have, as I said before, to use the good. It's not all of it, but to use the good wording, the good trigger words that will say, okay, they know what they're talking about, and they're really serious in their business actually. So it's a and that's why we have such a good success rate, because we know this. We know what the immigration wants to hear,
Yeah.
and and we and we're going to be honest enough to tell you if you have a good plan or if you don't have a good plan, and what you need to do.
Yes, exactly. And actually, I'm working with a client right now that the project changed so much. Like he wanted to do this, and then it was just, there was always a problem, So um, you have to have this amount of money in the U.S. Like it's not like, even if you say, yeah, I have it like in an account, like my retirement account, it's not going to work. So you have to have it in the US. The project changed so much, but it was just too complicated, and the immigration doesn't like complicated projects, so we made it super easy. So I made a plan. I said, okay, here's the plan. This is what you're going to do. We're going to do it that way. Even if you want to add services in the future, we'll look into that. But right now, this is a
Keep it
much
simple.
stronger, yeah, a much stronger plan. And I'm really confident that it's gonna work. But you have to follow a protocol, and that's what I do. Like I'm looking at, so what's your goal? So what's your idea? What's your goal? What do you want? What do you want to achieve? And then we'll look into that, and then we'll see what will be a better option. Some people have no idea. Like I don't know. I want to buy a business. Okay, what kind of business? I don't know. Well, what do you like? Because I feel like you kind of need to like at least a little bit what you're gonna buy, right?
Right.
So
It's
you're
easy
looking at
if
the
you
interest.
invest time in your business. Really, yeah, you better like it, because you're gonna need to invest a lot of hours. And when if you like it, you're not gonna count the hours. That's it.
Yes, and I mean, it's not always like I'm not passionate. Oh, I guess sometimes I am passionate about cleaning, but so I did not really think about something like that. Like
But you're
when I was,
passionate about money.
but maybe. But when I was a kid, I did not even think about like I'm gonna own a cleaning business, and then even like telling that to my parents, they would have been looking at my bedroom. They would have said, "Nope, this is not gonna happen." But it's much more than that. I like challenges, and it's a very competitive. It was a very competitive business to start.
And
And
being in business is a journey by itself.
yes.
You're in love. You're in love with business,
Exactly. So I would
owning a
have
business,
anything
being
exactly,
proud of it.
and
Yeah.
then growing and finding a concept. So I created the own like training concept, and like I always do. I always do, and I have so many ideas in my head. But so that's what I like. But you kind of need to have some sort of passion to to enjoy what you're gonna do every day. So if you're in like a restaurant setting, do you even like food or cook, or do you want to plan menus, and you have to like it. If you don't, then we're gonna find something else. I have one. I'm trying to find an option for him. He wants to buy a car repair company, but in specific areas. So we're trying to find something, and as soon as we have something, and he's ready to buy. But that's what he wants. Like, so we found that thing that
He's
yeah.
passionate about that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I would like to own something, or could be animals. Like a lot of people like animals; they want to help animals, so we're gonna do, like something with animals.
I have a
So
client
just
of ours who owns she's an animal chiropractor.
yeah,
Who
yeah,
knew
she does.
that? I didn't know that exists.
Yeah, apparently it does. And so she was able to find a business that was, animal related. Yeah, kids could be kids, school, like what are you passionate about? And then we're gonna find a solution. And
Daycare.
it's
Yeah.
either, yeah, you you can start your own project, join another project, or we didn't talk about the franchise or license, but that's another option that people don't think about. The immigration is not so crazy about franchises, and a lot of people will be like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." That's not true. It is true. I'm not saying you won't get your visa if you open a franchise. It just have to be a franchise that allows the owner to be a little more, has more
Hands
freedom, let's
on.
say. Yeah, so they be able to change things and be able to adapt. Because one of the things during the pandemic, well, actually, giving this example, my business survived the pandemic while the cleaning franchises around me all closed down. And the reason was because I was able to adapt. So we were targeting
Pivot. Yeah.
residential, and then we kind of opened to commercial, while the franchises around me, they were trying to do the same, but they were not allowed to do commercial cleaning. So that's one of the reasons, but that's another option. You get the support, you get like, people like to be supported. So if you're not like a really creative person and you're like, nah, I don't want to make my own concept. I want somebody to think about it, and then I'll just, you know, do what they
Plus,
tell
listen,
me to
Judy,
do.
you have to admit, even if you're not, it's not that you're not business savvy or passionate, but when you see a recipe, like, of course, that's the most obvious answer, but would you buy a McDonald's? Like, yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's good for an E2 visa, but
No,
I
yeah.
mean, just for the sake of, will you buy McDonald's? Yeah, if you can have it at a decent price because they have a recipe and it works. That's it, and it's quasi impossible to fail if you
Well,
follow the recipe.
yeah. So you'll have a lot of you'll have this. You're talking about something that is well known, and then you need a lot of money, but most people don't have that much money to invest, and so the franchise that they can target are not really the franchise that will.
Proven that
Yes.
much. Yeah.
So, but if you believe in the products, if you believe in a new concept, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is genius. Yes, of course. Yeah, there's so many. There's like, I wouldn't even think about it, because I would be lost looking at all of it, and looking at all of the franchise agreements. What you have, your obligation, what you have to pay every month. That's not something that really interests me, but I know a lot of people, that's what they want, that's what they need.
Yeah. So closing.
Yes.
What can we say about the ins and outs of an E2 visa? So it's a very good visa, if of course if you're business savvy, but it's a one. in my opinion, it's one of the best visa you can get because it opens so many doors.
Hmm. Um, it's not. It's not hard to get if you do, what you're supposed to do. So you invest your 100,000, around that amount, and then you create jobs. And it's, like it's a substantial investment, and then you're not doing it from home, and all of this. If you do all of this, then it's a very good visa because your spouse can work. Um, it's hard to have like a visa, and you're dependent on yourself. You're not dependent on the employer that may actually fire you, and then you have to go back or try to find another sponsor. So I feel just for this reason that it's kind of like a good visa. Obviously, people see the 100,000. It depends. Okay. So I have people coming to me and they understand already that when you invest in a business, that's an investment, it's not an expense. But the French Canadian culture is a little different. And for us, we see the investment as an expense, like something like throwing money, you know. Um, and
Especially advertising.
yeah, well, yeah, but you have to advertise. You have to do some sort of
Of course.
marketing because you want people to know about you. But for some culture, it's just common sense. But I have to say it's not always the case. But for this reason, bringing the money that you have by selling your home, or you just had this amount of money sitting there. Well, that's a good investment that will bring your family to the US. Then your kids will be able to experience something else, and eventually get to, like we did. We came here with one daughter. Now we have three. Now they all have dual citizenship. But like it's bringing them to another world with I'm really happy about the move that we've done 20 years ago. I've never wanted to go back. And I think that would be a good investment, to uh, to spend this amount of money to create a business. And then once you have the business, then you have um, you know other option to grow it, so you can sell it, or invest in something else, and get the EB5. Your spouse could start a business that will not even be. So sometimes this is another option. The spouse will, so they will start a not complicated business, and the spouse will open a complicated business from home, something that would not be eligible for the E2. So they will have two businesses that will bring money. So you have so many options with the E2 that you don't have with other visa. Actually, a lot of other visa. So you have visas that the spouse can work, um, but not all of them, and they are all sponsored by an employer. So you have to work there for this employer, and I mean they can fire you at any time.
So maybe I'm gonna show the email. The email's in French, but we will answer the any email we get from there. So it's info at objectif immigré in French .com. You can contact us there, but you can also reach out to us on Facebook, or just to answer under this video, and we'll get back to you. So if you're looking for information, of course the first, we can do like a video call together for free, so we can learn a little bit more about you, and to
Mhm.
see if you're eligible, or and answer like some of your questions, and yeah, and if it's something doable for you, for your family, yeah, and then we can make a plan with you, and we're gonna tell you if it, of course, for an E2. But if you're looking maybe for another visa, of course we're still open for that.
Oh yeah.
But
I
yeah,
always
but
go for the visa that makes sense. So if the
that makes
E2,
sense to your situation. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. And some people don't even have the money to invest, and we're looking at other options that it's not always easy. It may take a lot of time, but we're looking at all options.
yeah, yeah. And listen, if you have a company in Canada and the company wants to open in the US, there's another visa that won't even cost you 100K, and it's an L1 visa. And okay, we're going
Mhm.
to talk to you about it. Maybe it's a possibility there, and maybe the company can send you to the US to
Mhm.
open a branch, and
Mhm.
you're good. You're good to go. And
Yep.
it's a quite an as easy as an E2 to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of.
Some sort. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's pretty similar. That's yeah.
hmm
So yeah. So but the when there's a will, there's a way. So we'll
Yes.
find a way, if you have the nerve, if you have the if you're ready to do the effort, it's chances
They
are
will.
it's possible. Yeah.
Yes.
All right then. So hey, Julie, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
And thanks to everybody that was there or are gonna be there in the future, because of course it's gonna stay on the web.
hmm
And if you have any question, just ask us under, and we'll try to answer the best of our knowledge.
hmm
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next time.